Sustainability comes in many forms, like taking a vacant piece of land that's slated for redevelopment in a couple of years, and in the meantime, turning it into an urban farm. We'll learn about some local farming projects, plus xeriscaping, an Earth Day celebration for kids, and coexisting with coyotes on this edition of Connected Colorado. Hi, I'm Wendy Brockman. Colorado used to be the carnation capital of the world, but because of cheaper labor in other countries, the industry in our state withered, and greenhouses like this went vacant. Well, there's a new farm here now, and it's thriving. We'll learn more later. But first, let's take a look at another win-win concept for local agriculture.
It's all the buzz in communities across the country. Community-supported agriculture, or CSA, is a growing trend that focuses on local farms that serve local people. The produce is sold at farmers markets, or people can buy a membership or share.
People buy in at the beginning of the season, so they take on some of the risk along with the farmer. The farmer gets income at the beginning of the season when all the expenses are happening.
Celia is co-owner of Star Acre Farms in North Arvada, along with Jackie Rail.
I really love being able to feed my family. It's really a rewarding experience, and to know that I grew the dinner that we're consuming, and I know that my daughter's eating really well.
So in the spring of 2011, the women dug into farming, thanks to neighbors who loaned them about an acre of land, and help from the Front Range Power Antique Association, whose members help prepare the soil.
Most of us grew up on farms, and we just like to preserve some of that farming history and the background, and we just enjoy getting out and playing in the dirt.
We've got Larry out here with his 730 John Deere with a 3-bottom plow, and he's turning the soil over as deep as he can. It's kind of tough plowing on this fresh ground here. And we've got Jim Engelsman, who's got his International over here, and he's disking, just breaking up the dirt. And then I was to come in and just rototill that up to a finer finish.
It's an absolute honor to be working with them, and we're delighted.
But it didn't take much to convince the men to get involved.
As they say, you know, you can take the kid out of the farm, but you can't take the farm out of the kid. We always had John Deere tractors on the farm, and there's just something about that 2-cylinder sound that you can't get out of your system.
By midsummer, the hum of 2-cylinder engines was replaced by the buzz of bees, fields of green, and lots of hard work.
You know, we can never sit back and think that we're done. So there's always something more to do, and as soon as you think you're done weeding, you just have to turn around and there are more weeds to weed.
Jackie is the production manager, while Celia runs the business side. Both have lived in Arvada for years and share a passion for nature.
I've always loved food and cooking and also growing things. I've always gardened, and so I think farming brings the two together in a wonderful way.
The women specialize in heirloom varieties and organic crops.
We've got tons of ladybugs that really appreciate all the flowers too, that are helping eat the aphids, so we don't have to use any sort of chemicals or anything on them. So nature's helping us out a lot too.
On market days, the harvest begins at sunrise.
We come out and harvest as much as we can for the first 2 hours of the day.
Throughout the day, everything is washed and bundled and readied for market.
It's actually a pretty fast day. Everything just, you know, you kind of just got to keep moving, and then next thing you know, you're at the market. This is all heirloom lettuces.
Chard, baby carrots, squash, and more fill the harvest table. The women deliver to 3 locations each week throughout their 22-week growing season.
So we could put some ice in here and put some of the greens out. There's chard, arugula. We might need a couple buckets.
A lot of them appreciate the variety in the different crops that we're pulling out of the ground. And also we have some old reliables like lettuces and tomatoes and things that everyone knows how to use already. But I think they really appreciate that challenge to say, okay, well, how do I eat a mustard green? So that's been kind of fun to see them excited about new crops and different colored crops and things like that.
I've tried a few new recipes and I've tried new vegetables, and so that's been fun to have some new produce in the house. It's trying new things, it's being a part of the community, that smaller carbon footprint.
For Celia and Jackie, the CSA has pulled together everything they hoped for, from members to new customers at markets to community support and neighbors who've shared their land.
We're so thrilled that they've taken a chance on us and that they want to be part of this project, and we also thank the community of Arvada for encouraging urban farming and for making this possible.
We've turned this empty field into something beautiful that can feed Arvada too, so I think that's really great to be part of.
I'm here now with Rich Naha of Circle Fresh Farms in Wheat Ridge. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, this greenhouse used to grow carnations, but that industry fell to the wayside. So what was the condition of this property like when you took over?
When we found this greenhouse, it was, they had padlocked the front door. There were plants throughout the greenhouse that were dying, and roof panels were flying off, and water pipes were breaking.
It was a mess.
It was on the verge of being a blight for the neighborhood.
So what do you grow here now?
We grow 4 different varieties of tomatoes and mini sweet pepper.
How long have you been in business?
Circle Fresh has been in operation since March of 2011.
So how many tomatoes would you say you grow in a year?
This facility will produce 400,000 pounds of tomatoes every year.
What? It's a lot.
Tons, literally tons. Because of the great sunlight of Colorado, we can grow that amount.
A ton of tomatoes. Sounds like growing indoors is much more efficient than growing outdoors. Why is that?
We don't waste any water. We can produce 4 to 5 times the produce that these plants would produce in the field on 1/10 the amount of water. So we're 40 to 50 times more efficient with water than outdoor crops.
They're all organic?
It's all organic, and the proof is in the pudding.
This is a little one, obviously.
It is. It's a specialty tomato.
Super sweet.
Yep.
My kids would actually just pop these
like candy.
Raw. Honestly, they're that good.
Yeah.
Delicious. Where can people buy your produce?
We're in all the Front Range Whole Food stores. We also distribute through door-to-door organics, Mile High Organics, Growers Organics, a handful of restaurants, and we're expanding our sales every month.
You gonna eat that?
I can.
Because if you're not, I'll have it. So what are the advantages of growing locally, would you say?
To me, the reason I got into this business, I lived in Costa Rica with my 3 small children, and every morning we cut a huge plate of fruit with papaya, pineapple, mango, and a dozen other fruits I'd never heard of till I moved there. And they fought over the food. They just devoured this big plate of food that was healthy, and it was all natural, organic, grown locally, and it just tasted good to them. And we would come back to the United States, and I would cut up some cantaloupe for my kids, and they were small, and my 3-year-old would just put the fork back on the plate, and his body knew it didn't taste good. He kind of knew it wasn't nutritious for him. So to me, the local food movement is about having the food be as fresh and nutritious as possible. Because when you allow the tomato to ripen on the vine, truly ripen on the vine, it obtains the maximum amount of nutrition, and then it tastes good. And so
It does taste good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us here. Awesome tomatoes.
Thank you.
Being sustainable means using our water resources wisely. Xeriscape gardening techniques are the very best for beautiful, healthy plants that thrive in Colorado's arid climate. Check out these tips to enhance your garden.
There's nothing like a beautiful yard when it comes to relaxing and entertaining. Conventional gardening often requires a lot of maintenance and water. But water is a precious commodity here in the West. So a drought-tolerant type of gardening has become very popular in Colorado. It's called xeriscape. For the last several years, the City of Lakewood has emphasized xeric gardening over any other kind.
We're way ahead of the curve on that, and that's kind of confirmed through other people in the industry who come to us for advice now, all the way from Pueblo to Fort Collins.
Xeric plants are those plants that are drought tolerant and require less attention than water-rich flora.
we've started to convert annual beds to perennial beds, to xeric perennial beds, and we're still in the process of doing that. We want to save some annual flowers for the public because everybody does love those. But in the process of doing that, we've also converted a lot of medians. We're in the process of still doing that as well because they get so much attention and visibility out there.
Savvy gardeners are learning about xeriscaping techniques and discovering that xeric plants can be just as satisfying to grow as more traditional flowers and ground cover.
Annual flowers are a great, beautiful thing to look at, but they're only something you can look at 5 months out of the year, and they use a lot of water. The Kinderclay Gardens has a huge variety of species of plants now. All of those plants are drought-tolerant plants. There's nothing over there that needs a lot of water. So anything that people are looking at is something that they can grow under a low-water regime.
Lakewood factors in 7 steps when it builds a xeriscape garden: planning and design, soil improvements, installing efficient irrigation, zoning of plants, mulches, turf alternatives, and appropriate maintenance. Start with a site plan and mark those areas around your home where you want to plant gardens. Since western plants, which usually are xeric plants, do well in a mineralized soil, check to see if you have soil with a lot of clay or sand. Heavy clay soil can actually drown xeric plants, so amend the soil is necessary for good drainage.
My first tip to anyone that wants to grow a xeric garden is find out how your soil drains. Xeric plants don't like to have roots that are wet all the time. They need water like any other plant, but they like the water to drain away. And xeric plants, where they grow naturally, that's the type of soil it is. It's a highly mineralized soil, which is a soil that has a lot of rock and a lot of gravel and not a lot of organic stuff, compost. Very good way to kill xeric plants, put a ton of compost on it. So it's completely opposite from what most people are used to doing with their traditional garden plants.
You can water a xeriscape garden easily by hand or with an automatic sprinkler system. Xeric plants need water for a good start, but not as much water as annuals.
When people hear xeric and they buy xeric plants, they want to go and plant them and not water them. They need water for at least the first 6 months to get established, whether it's a xeric or not.
Group together plants that need similar amounts of light and water into specific zones. Mulching is essential and helps keep plant roots cool, reduces weed growth, and minimizes evaporation. Examples of good organic mulches include bark chips and wood grindings. Inorganic mulches are simply rocks and gravel. Take a good look at your lawn, or lack thereof. Most lawn grass needs a lot of water to survive Colorado's summer heat. If you're putting in a new lawn, do yourself a favor and plant turf that doesn't need a lot of water. Drought-tolerant species include buffalo grass, blue grama grass, and tall and fine fescues. To prep your soil for turf, work in some organic matter or compost. Then till the soil as deeply as possible. This extra effort will not only help establish a new lawn, it will reduce the amount of water needed to do so. Although your xeric garden will not need as much attention as a typical annual garden, it will need maintenance. So plan to pull weeds, prune, and fertilize your plants to get them off to a good start.
In terms of maintenance with a xeric garden, the fact that the plants natively grow in such harsh environments, they don't like a lot of coddling. As a matter of fact, a lot of coddling usually will end up killing the plants. So best thing to do is get your soil right, put your plants in, monitor them, and of course water them initially to get the soil settled around the root systems. After that, you don't have to do a whole lot. There's not a lot of pruning, there's not a lot of deadheading or any of that thing that you would normally associate with having a garden. So in many, many ways, it actually is very much easier.
Lakewood has a helpful guide on its website to assist you in creating a xeric garden. The Principles of Xeriscaping offers detailed information for designing a water-wise garden.
Call us and ask us, and we'll be glad to help you in any way. The deeper you can work your soil, the deeper the plants will root in the soil. That gives the plants resiliency over time to weather drought and weather heat and all these things. So besides using us as a resource, realize the environment that you live in. And what I mean by that is the whole Front Range from Wyoming to New Mexico is a dry, semi-arid desert environment. Living with your environment instead of trying to fight your environment is a much happier place to be as a gardener.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, this vacant piece of land is slated to be redeveloped in a few years. But in the meantime, it has been transformed into True Roots Farm. One of the co-owners, Dan Gravy, is here now. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for coming by.
You're in kind of a suburban/metropolitan area, so how did this quarter-acre garden come about?
This place came about by us just trying to poke around for a place to grow vegetables on, a big garden. And my wife, Krista, managed to kind of hunt down the owner of this lot that's right by our house, and had a conversation with her, and she was very receptive to the idea of doing something like this for a period of time. And from there, we just kind of had to work out a little contract with her and kind of get things going.
So you only have this land for a couple of years. Then what happens after that?
I don't know quite yet. You know, we've got at least for a couple of years. We may or may not extend that. If we don't, then she's just going to kind of possibly gradually develop, or maybe just scrape the whole thing and we start over somewhere else.
So where can people get your produce?
We're actually going to put up a little market stand right up front there. We're going to put in a little small parking lot and maybe bring in another vendor or two, hopefully twice a week, and set up our own little tent and just have kind of a little mini farmer's market right on site there.
Love it. A cool local farm for wheat right now.
I mean, we've got all this kind of potential just to, you know, let people know where they can. So it's just kind of a roadside stand, and it's easier for us. And
great.
Yeah.
It's such a creative idea. Thanks for having us here, and good luck with your venture.
Thank you so much for coming out.
You bet.
We appreciate it.
The United States has celebrated Earth Day since 1970, but actually every day is Earth Day. And getting our kids involved helps sustain us for generations to come. Let's take a look at a recent Earth Day celebration in Broomfield.
Why are we here today?
For Earth Day!
It's the Earth Day Science Camp for kids. We're at the Broomfield Community Center and we're celebrating Earth Day, and we're doing a bunch of science experiments so kids will be aware not only about just clean water, we're talking about sustainability. We want them to be aware of their earth in general, air, water, and soil, and we're doing some science experiments trying to get them interested in science.
Yeah, there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. There's bacteria everywhere. There's millions and millions. Exactly, we have it on our skin.
We've been doing it approximately for 8 years. It's Earth Day, and this is the first year we've actually added science experiments to it.
Because of the sunlight getting into the plant, they suck in that carbon dioxide, and this really cool chemical reaction happens inside the plant. It gives the plant food, but at the same time the plant breathes out oxygen. Isn't that really cool?
This is not an event where they just come and listen to talking heads. They actually participate, and they have something to take home to remind them about what they learned.
The Earth Day is really important because it helps the Earth so it doesn't get sick, and so you don't get sick.
This station over here is our plant station, and basically they're learning about photosynthesis, flowers, why it's so important for us to have plants in general, why we have to have them, why trees clean our air, and they're actually learning about uptake of plants.
They're making their pots out of recycled milk cartons, and they're decorating them with stickers and with construction paper and markers so that we can make them their own little planters so they can grow their own zinnias. We planted our own zinnia and we made our own pot, and this is what it's going to look like eventually, okay?
So what you do is you color your papers first, put stickers or color with markers, and then when you're done with those, I'll go ahead and fasten it by stapling it to this box. This is awesome. This is great fun helping out with the kids, so they kind of look forward to be good stewards of their environment when they get older, and then teaching and passing on to the future generations. It's a great thing that they can learn to do right now.
So I'm just going to give it just a little bit of water. See what we're doing? We're just giving it just a little bit. The water gets sucked up through the stems of the flowers all the way up to the petals, and when it's sucking up colored water, then it makes the petals that color. That's really cool, isn't it?
Today I'm going to talk to you guys about composting and the creatures that do the composting, which are called decomposers. I have vermicomposting, which is worm composting, set up over here, and I was basically just talking about decomposition and how it works and the decomposers and the different animals that do that and why it's important to compost and keep all that excess food, scraps, and leftover food out of the landfill. Okay, so do you guys want to look at the worms? Yeah. Okay, and do you know what these worms are called? They're called red wigglers.
They're green. Why are they green?
Look, when I turn it though, look, they turn different colors. They're like rainbowy, huh? Rainbowy green.
That's what we use to drink. Our third one is our water station, where kids can learn about where water goes when they flush their toilets, where their drinking water comes from, and how to keep our streams and our stormwater clean here in Broomfield. They're doing a lot of experiments about specific gravity to see what'll float or what will sink, or what goes down their drain if they throw grease down their drains. And we actually have a lava light, which is introducing not only specific gravity, but they're also learning what actually is soluble with water. All our adults work either for stormwater, wastewater, or the environmental labs, so they're all associated with something dealing with the environment. They work for the City and County of Broomfield. It's more than just a team. They love the educational aspect to actually help people learn more about how they're impacting their work here in Broomfield. Broomfield's always been a very close community because they want their kids to learn, and hopefully next year we're going to even do more other than just science. We'll do a STEM class, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. I love it, love it, love it. I do this all year long. This is part of my job, but I love just doing outreach and working with the community.
This is how I got interested in what I do for a living, is doing things like this. Arbor Day at my school. My mom was always into doing things like this, and that's what got me interested in it. So the fact that I can possibly get other kids interested in it is really cool. It's really fun.
Dealing with the worms and the kids, that's a lot of fun. And I love seeing the little kids seeing all the worms, because some of them are like, oh my God, it's so gross. And then some of them just love it and want to try to gather up as many worms as they can in their hands. So
Broomfield has really stepped up, but it's not just Earth Day. For us, Earth Day is every day, but whenever any school calls us, any community group, or any HOA calls us, we will go out and educate them about anything to do with sustainability. And it's just a passion that I have, but I've been very fortunate that Broomfield is really behind us.
As neighborhoods spread out, we encroach on the habitat of wildlife. Part of sustainability is coexisting with wildlife, including coyotes.
Colorado is coyote country. Also known as the prairie wolf and desert wolf, the coyote traditionally lives in arid climates such as the Front Range and High Plains. This land was home to the coyote long before it belonged to us.
Lakewood is very lucky, as is all of Colorado, to have many green belts and open space areas that really provide a lot of conduit for wildlife to move in and out of what is basically human-populated areas.
Coyotes are regarded as intelligent and determined animals that are highly adaptive. They can eat anything humans can eat, as well as insects and small rodents. Coyotes are very helpful at controlling vermin and other pests who live around human communities, and they do so without the use of harmful poisons.
They do really well where people are in general, because people create trash, which creates rodents, which creates prey and things for coyotes to eat.
If you live near a park, open space, or even a golf course, you're likely to see coyotes from time to time. Coyotes are especially active during the summer months when new pups are stepping out of the den and learning to live and hunt in a larger world. Coyote mothers are very protective of young pups and have been known to challenge dogs and people who come too close to their den.
If you're in a yard and they're denning nearby, they see your dog as a threat to their pups. So they can definitely exhibit aggressive behavior. They're also opportunistic predators. They will go after anything they can. If it's easy and they can get a meal and they have pups to feed, they will go after an unintended dog. That's why we think it's really critical for people to be extra especially careful.
Although coyotes rarely attack humans, they do attack small pets like dogs and cats that are left alone. When walking your dog along trails or in parks, keep it on a short leash and keep it under control. While most coyotes will stay away from you, they may view a pet on an extension leash as prey. And unfortunately, pets, even large dogs, are no match for a coyote.
What you need to remember also is that anytime your pet is outside, it can be a part of the food chain. So it's really critical for pet owners to protect their animals and do everything they can to make sure that their animals won't be in harm's way.
Coyotes are bold enough to make a den near a house or even under a porch in order to gain easy access to food and water. If you find signs of coyotes living near your home, such as animal scat, paw prints, or holes that might indicate a den, there are several things you can do. Place ammonia-soaked rags and pepper around the den openings. You can also use mothballs. Install motion-detecting outdoor lights and make a point of spending more time outdoors to mark your territory. If you see them outside your house, spray them with water, throw stones at them, and make a loud noise to scare them away.
We'd like people just to do what they can to coexist with coyotes. We're kind of lucky to have them in Colorado, but we understand that, there are limits to how comfortable they should be with people.
By taking some simple and sensible steps, you can avoid conflicts with coyotes. Here are some effective ways to deter them. Make your trash cans inaccessible and securely fasten down lids. Do not keep pet food outside. Remove water sources from around your home. Do not leave table scraps outdoors for animals. Avoid putting out too much birdseed. It not only draws birds, but mice, rabbits, and squirrels that are coyote prey. Spay your dogs. Dogs in heat attract coyotes. Pick ripe fruit and keep it off the ground. 6-foot-high fences discourage them. Keep small pets indoors, unless you're available to watch them. And if you find holes in your fence, repair them promptly.
If you're uncomfortable with the presence of an animal, you should do everything you can to make that animal fearful of you. You should clap, you should yell, you should say, "Get out of here, coyotes! Get out of here! This is where I'm walking." Yell, make yourself large, and scare it. You can even throw things at it. We don't want wildlife to be harmed, but if you don't have to feel threatened. You need to protect yourself if you feel threatened by any wildlife.
If you're walking through a park with a small child or pet and see a coyote watching you, take action. Pick the child or pet up quickly and scare the coyote off.
If you have any incident with any wildlife, you are certainly within your rights, and you should fight back. Make that animal know that you are not prey.
The Colorado Division of Wildlife can help you coexist with coyotes. Call them at 303-291-7227 or visit their website at wildlife.state.co.us for more information. Many Native Americans call the coyote song dog. All you have to do is listen to their harmonies at night to appreciate the beauty and intelligence they bring to the outdoor experience.
Becoming sustainable is a process, and every step we take towards sustainability makes a difference. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Connected Colorado. From reusing old buildings and vacant land for local farming to xeriscaping, Earth Day for kids, and coexisting with coyotes, it's all about being sustainable. Learn more on Connected Colorado, Thursdays at 8. From reusing old buildings and vacant land for local farming to xeriscaping, Earth Day for kids, and coexisting with coyotes. It's all a part of being sustainable. Learn more on Connected Colorado, Thursdays at 8.